What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. It looks like it's a great day for humanity. President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin of Russia have agreed on a ceasefire in Syria. That means a de-escalation of the current Syrian war, which is excellent news for America. It's excellent news for the citizens all over the world, and especially excellent news for the citizens of Syria. Syria is a great place. They have restaurants, good people of all religions and beliefs and whatnot. It's not just a hellhole. It's not a mess. It's a very beautiful place with a bunch of beautiful people. So the Syrian people deserve peace, and it looks like we're on that path. First, I want to let you know what's going on. President Trump reportedly met with Vladimir Putin at a summit. They were supposed to talk for 30 minutes. They ended up talking for 2 hours or so, and they came to the conclusion that they're going to have a ceasefire in Syria. And I want to go back, before I explain why this is so important, besides the obvious, I want to go back to the election. While the media was dominating the conversation, saying it was a battle of racism, sexism, xenophobia versus, love Trump's hate, that was totally not at all the truth about the scenario, and that's half the reason that Donald Trump won. The media will paint people, everybody who voted for Donald Trump is racist, but I know multiple people who actually voted for him because they believe that he was the piece of the puzzle to world peace, and especially his views towards Syria. Hillary Clinton campaigned on escalating the war with Syria. She campaigned on shooting down Russian aircrafts, and she campaigned on just being even more military industrial complex style in Syria, and Donald Trump campaigned against that. They didn't tell you that, CNN, Washington Post, New York Times, NBC, they didn't tell you that because they don't want you to know. They want to keep the military industrial complex flowing, selling more weapons, starting more wars. That's what they do. I mean, you can go back to Iraq and Libya, where we killed Saddam Hussein and left a huge power vacuum for ISIS to thrive. Or you could look at Libya, who, regardless of what the mainstream media says, Gaddafi, the leader of Libya, was giving his people free education, free electricity. He was allowing people to be farmers. He was giving every citizen a house. He said every human deserves a home. He was doing a lot of progressive things. Education was on the rise. Gaddafi was doing brilliant things for Libya, and Hillary Clinton and her team went in and killed him, and she famously joked and laughed about it. She said, "We came, we saw, he died," and started cracking up. Hillary Clinton thought it was the funniest thing to kill Gaddafi when he was letting his people thrive for the first time in a long time. So that's who you're dealing with there. And a lot of people have been very critical of President Trump because while the media lies and said everybody voted for him because they're racist and sexist, really the reality of the situation, regardless of who says what, is millions of people voted for him because they thought he was going to end the war in Syria. Most Americans don't know what Syria is. You talk about Syria and Somalia, they think it's Kanye West or Jay-Z's kids, but it's actually two countries where there are wars and a lot of decimation going on. So President Trump agreeing to a ceasefire with Russia is huge. The mainstream media, even though they lost the election, remember, I've told you for months how the Russia narrative was completely phony. It's because they, the mainstream media and politicians like John McCain and Hillary Clinton, wanted to start war with Russia. That's the only reason they're really anti-Trump. If Trump was just doing, the things that he says, they wouldn't care. Their main reason is they want a war in Syria. That's their main goal, and they're mad that Trump is messing up the flow of the wars that they started. They went Iraq, Libya, Syria. They're trying to fight with Russia. Meanwhile, Trump is trying to strike deals with Russia, and they manipulated and tricked the American public into thinking that peace and prosperity and communication and striking deals is a bad thing, and they convinced, Russia's a big bad boogeyman and they can't possibly do anything right. But the truth of the situation is the United States has broken several treaties with Russia. We've said multiple times through the 90s and 2000s that we wouldn't pass certain areas, and we continue to pass certain areas, and that's what the United States is famous for. Somehow Donald Trump won, and now everybody thinks Donald Trump is the only person who does anything bad, and America is perfect, and all these criminal politicians who really start wars and do all this crazy, disgusting stuff, somehow they're the heroes now, and Donald Trump's the enemy. Meanwhile, everybody knows what the United States has done. They've run over the Hawaiian people and basically stole Hawaii without a treaty. They ran over the Native Americans and pretty much broke every single treaty that they've ever signed with the Native Americans in the United States and said, here, take some casinos and shut up. And they're doing the same thing in the Middle East. They constantly just break treaties and break agreements and then point the finger. Oh, it's Russia's fault. Oh, it's that fault. Okay, I'm not saying Vladimir Putin's perfect. I'm sure he's absolutely a threat and we should keep our eyes on people. But how is it a good idea to continuously break treaties with everybody, continuously just run over, people and lie about everything, and then act like they're the ones who are doing things wrong, which is what they're doing on multiple fronts. So President Trump is doing an amazing job. It's a ceasefire with Syria, and he's on his way, in my opinion. Once again, this is an opinion because no one knows for sure. The military-industrial complex, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United States, Russia, Syria, it's all very complex stuff. It's hard to know who's doing what. You have ISIS, but I really, truly believe that the United States with President Trump is on their way to peace and prosperity because Trump really can finesse these situations where Hillary Clinton, even Barack Obama and other politicians, they're just professional liars. And, I don't even think it was Obama's fault. I think it's even deeper than that. It's the military-industrial complex. But I will say that the press that everybody thinks is so great because they're anti-Trump, yeah, take down, impeach Trump, all they really want is war. They don't want to help you. They don't want to help your racial cause or your religion cause or your social justice cause, the environment cause. They really don't care, to be honest. They just want to start war. They're war media, warmongering media, fake news media who have literally made up 10 plus stories, completely fabricated Russian stories. You think they're fabricating Russian stories to help you? You think they're lying to you to help you? You think they're losing elections left and right to help people? Not at all. They're trying to confuse people because they want people to demand war with Russia because that's what they do, is fight wars. And I agree Putin needs to be kept an eye on and we shouldn't just be naive, but a ceasefire in Syria and peace in Syria is much better than fighting Syria, attacking Syria and attacking Russia when Syria and Russia are actually fighting ISIS. And I want to say, like I said multiple times, let's be honest, during the Obama administration, ISIS came out of nowhere. When George Bush ended his regime, it was Al-Qaeda. That was the word Al-Qaeda, Iraq, Al-Qaeda. And somehow during President Obama's administration, we went from Iraq, Afghanistan, into Somalia, Yemen, Libya, Syria. We spread all over the Middle East. We're breaking all our treaties. We're killing people and leaving their country a mess. And all of a sudden, ISIS gets created out of virtually nothing. How is ISIS thriving when we're the strongest military in the world? We have all this intel. We have all these allies. We have weapons all over the place. We sell weapons left and right to all these countries. And we can't stop ISIS? In my personal opinion, as well as many others, like Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, Republicans, conservatives, progressive Democrats, just honest people all across the board, is we purposely weren't stopping ISIS. We were funding them in a lot of ways, either directly or indirectly with weapons and finances. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, ISIS was thriving, and now you have President Trump in office. He's doing a complete 180 on a lot of foreign policy things. He's actually fighting ISIS instead of funding them. He's getting along with Syria and Russia instead of fighting them. A lot of people criticized that he had a strike on Syria, and he also was escalating the war just like Hillary Clinton was. And it was really bothering me because, we shot down a Russian aircraft, and that's exactly what Hillary wanted to do. So it looked like it was just going to happen, and now a ceasefire because they actually had a conversation. This is excellent. I think peace can absolutely be achieved. To be fair and honest, President Trump sold $100 billion in weapons to Saudi Arabia, between $100 and $400 $100 billion to $400 billion worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia says Qatar is funding terrorism. We have an air base in Qatar, and we funded Qatar with $12 billion worth of jets. So we're still funding both sides of the war. I'm very critical of President Trump when he does that and the military-industrial complex, but I believe in progress. I would love to just end the wars immediately, but a lot of these conflicts were actually long withstanding. I mean, humans have been killing humans since the beginning of time. Direct quote from one of my poems. It's been happening, so there's not one specific person at fault, but I truly do believe that President Trump is a step in the right direction, and that's why I've been standing up and stepping up, even though it's very unpopular to do, because I don't really care what's popular. I'm trying to actually help people and tell the truth. And I know for a fact Hillary Clinton is not who people think she is. I mean, she's a warmonger who destroyed Libya and bragged about it when Libya was coming up. A lot of African leaders were saying Gaddafi was one of the best things to happen to Africa, and especially to Libya, in the past 10, 20 years. And she proudly destroyed that civilization. Where fighting with Russia and Syria, these are not good things. In the 21st century, in the age of information and the internet, we shouldn't be killing each other anymore. We have resources for our people. We have food. We can build shelter. We can have success, and we can all thrive together. There's a specific entity among politicians and media who it seems like their job and their best interest is to continue to fuel war and start war and lie to people and confuse people. I mean, you log into, excuse me, I just worked out so I'm a little sweaty, but they lie to people and they convince people on all fronts. If I log into Twitter, Facebook, Google, pretty much any news source, it almost seems like they're purposely trying to turn people against each other, racially, religiously. All of their stories are just fueled in a negative direction, trying to get people to fight. To me, it seems like they're purposely starting wars, not only internationally, but domestically too. It's like they just want to confuse people and misinform people because they're on an all-out campaign to take down Donald Trump. And I'll tell you right now, it's not because they want to help people and they want people to thrive and they think he's dangerous. In my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, and what facts and reality shows outside of the fake news media, is that Donald Trump is progressing a lot of situations. He's changing the tune of a one world global order ran by Macron from France, Angela Merkel of Germany, and all of these world leaders who don't seem like they have people's best interests at heart. He's shifting away from that and also striking deals and getting along with Russia and Syria, where other politicians clearly want to fight them. They think it's a good idea to start World War III with Russia and reignite the Cold War. To me, it's common sense. I think getting along with somebody is better than fighting them. But according to most mainstream media, to Facebook, to Google, to Twitter, to Hillary Clinton, to John McCain, the best idea is to just fight, point the finger, lie about everybody, blame everybody else, blame this person, blame that person, blame Russia, blame Trump, blame, poor Americans who just happen to like Trump because they think he's a better option. This is what those people are saying. And this is what's really happening. A ceasefire in Syria. Keep in mind, look at pictures of Syria. Do your research on Syria. It's not this crazy, foreign place that you can't understand. If you look at the women and the children and the men and the businesses from Syria, you'll realize it's a beautiful place that's very accepting of all cultures and religions, just like the United States of America. And there's no reason that they should have to deal with ISIS. There's no reason that they should have to deal with the United States bombing their buildings. There's no reason that they should have to deal with the United States attacking them while they're trying to take out terrorists in their country. We need to get on the same page, and this ceasefire is an amazing start. So God bless Donald Trump. God bless the entire world. God bless you, and I would love to see this peace and prosperity continue. Keep in mind, because we're having peace now, the press and the politicians that act like they're heroes and social justice warriors, and everybody's going to retweet them because it's the trendy thing to do. Let's hate Trump. These politicians and these media sources that oppose Donald Trump, they just want war. I'm sorry, they've wanted war for the past 20 years. President Trump didn't change my opinion of them. I've known the mainstream media was phony and fake and leading people with lies for the past 10 years. I've seen it with my own eyes. So having a president who's calling out the media, who's calling out the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, and a lot of these news sources who pose as social justice warriors, Hillary Clinton can destroy the most progressive leader in Africa of the modern century and somehow be a leading feminist and a leading humanitarian when everyone knows that's not true. Her foundation was not a foundation. It was a criminal, corrupt scheme to basically just extort, millions of dollars while she's on the job, all illegally. These press and these politicians, they want war. They don't want to help you. They don't want to take down Trump for your best interest. They want to stop Trump because Trump is doing what no president has done since John F. Kennedy, and that's try to stop the wars. Try to achieve peace and attack things with logic and, facts and reality instead of just putting on a smiling face, lying to everybody, and standing up for only the banks and big corporations. That's my take on it. Hope you have an amazing day. I'm going to put my donate link if you want to donate to my video. Check out the video I made about CNN and their debacle with a Reddit meme maker. Came out this week. It's got 300 to 400,000 views. Thank you guys for joining, and like I said, check out my donor box link below, and please share this video if you think it could help people, because to me this is a pretty big deal. You're talking about 7 wars in 7 different countries that nobody knows about. How do you not know about the war in Syria? How do you not know about what's going on in Libya and Iraq? It's a big deal for a lot of women and children. So if you're a real activist, you should care about women and children in Syria, and a ceasefire, ending the war, ending this regime change war, and doing it a more practical approach. It's a very, 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 very big deal. Share this video, donate if you'd like, and have an amazing weekend. Take care.